60% of working women in India don't take independent money decisions. When I started my career in financial services, even I was supposed to dress like a man. Like I would wear a jacket and I would look very boring. And but in heels, you got to wear the heels because that's
Then it's not boring.
Then it's not boring.
3 साल थेरेपी में मेरे को यही लग रहा है कि हुआ क्या है मेरे साथ.
Let women be, I mean, if you're empathetic, if you're emotional, be in touch with, if that's a strong part of your personality, be in touch with that. Be true to what makes you stronger.
I realized that I grew up more like my dad than I did like my mom. Like that is what it is. Like if my dad was sitting here, हम same लगते हैं.
Women startup founders are not getting funded. If we create wealth, if we can create wealth, we can create wealth for so many more women.
This new generation of people teaching us so much, like Gen Z teaching us so much every day about it's okay to be open about the fact that I'm not okay.
I'm not okay.
Right? Or I am not going to do this, or I'm bored, or like whatever the fuck else, because हमने तो नहीं बोला पूरी जिंदगी.
Anyone making me feel guilty, it's self-imposed guilt. So imagine the generational somewhere trauma that you go through.
It's like a conversation you're having with yourself in terms of, they're probably thinking this. I'm probably coming across as somebody who's like not strong with the numbers. Not cutting yourself down. You know, like a lot of times I had to catch myself later and be like, why did I even say this? Like it's not something which is like required.
लड़कियों को ऐसा होना चाहिए, दिखना चाहिए, बोलना चाहिए, नहीं बोलना चाहिए, which I am so done with.
Welcome to the 4th episode of season 2 of Bitchaari, and this is a special one because I don't think we have done this yet. 3 brilliant females with me. Special curation has gone into this to take out very, very special things about females, ambitions, what we think about females in general and female friendships is what I'm really looking forward to. So let me introduce you to our guests today. Okay, I will start from there. Aditi, she takes care of the Taiwan Plus desk at Invest India. That is Garima, who's also a junior from college. She runs a pet parenting platform called Sploot. And Neha, the founder of Womoneysta. Yeah, that's what it's called. Womoneysta. Just replace the man with money. Replace the man and woman with money. That's all we gotta do. That's it. That you actually gave me the prompt for my first question to this. So how this is going to work is, think of this as your girls' locker room. Yeah. Boys also have locker rooms, of course, yes, but we are in the girls' locker room, okay? Now you can say anything you want, give any gali you want, share any experiences you want. Nobody is judging you in this room. Outside also, I mean, who's watching it can't judge you either. So
I thought you were like outside also who's watching it.
Someone said recently on Bitchaari's comment that, who told you to start a podcast? Have you seen your face?
Huh? This is your first one or this is your
recent episode mein, हाँ यार, and I was like I told Atulya that, write a social media post, what the kind of comments male podcasters get versus kind of comments female podcasters get. It will tell you why. It will tell you all the reasons why we don't get any impressions, any engagement, any views, anything. Basically. So let's start with our first question, okay? Something I'm picking from you, by the way.
Okay, go for it.
Something that we have, males, when we're talking about money in a household, finances in a household, even in companies, CFO, finance head, etc., we think about a male suit wearing a male who will take care of your money in any company, right? And house. Tell me, what do you think about that, and why did you start then Womoneysta for females? And
you got that right.
Really, really. And what kind of impact do you envision something that you're doing can create in that?
So, actually, what you rightly said, it's a mindset, right? We all have this mindset that when it comes to money, it's got to be this. In fact, not just men. I mean, when I started my career in financial services, even I was supposed to dress like a man. Like I would wear a jacket and I would look very boring. and but in heels. You got to wear the heels because that's how.
Then it's not boring.
Then it's not boring suddenly,
her heels.
right? But what really started happening, and as a young person in that industry, you start noticing that when you're talking about money to all these people who have so much agency, none of the women in the family are sitting in the room. Right, so you're talking about insurance, you're talking investments, how do we grow our wealth, how do we build something for our family? Where are the women? Right? So I think one of the biggest things which happened at that moment for me was I started thinking maybe there are not enough women working, so maybe that's why it happens. And this has been now 15 years. And today also the situation is so bad that even working women, 60% of working women in India don't take independent money decisions. So it's basically my money, but I hand it over to someone else to figure out, like, please just take care of it, almost as if ये मेरी problem नहीं है.
In fact, some of the most successful women I know also do this in a marriage or otherwise. What do you think? What do you think is the?
No, I think it's just that it's something that from a young age, it's not something we've kind of heard about.
That's
or
the
been
point.
spoken
Yeah.
to enough, right? Like your mom versus your dad, the conversations they'll have, the male members with the sons.
I think you start off from the grandparents' era as well, right? You see the man taking care of the money, making the decisions with the money, making insurance, making investment decisions. Half the time, it's not even run through the female members of the family. It's just this is being done.
Correct.
So you take cue from that. Now we are lucky to be born into a generation where we can live the life that we want to and make our own decisions. So we're in uncharted territory, sort of.
It's
So
a very beautiful situation. What's happened is that a lot of women want to earn, and for them, earning is equal to independence. But that's not the fact, actually. If you're not able to manage your money and create security for yourself, create a future for yourself, we have women who come back to say us if the man is not around, कि यार अब मैं क्या करूँ?
But you know, मेरे को ऐसा लगता है that I mean a lot of this is also, I mean generally speaking, yes, like there are not enough budgeting conversations had. Like I grew up not knowing क्या कैसे कहाँ planning, what do you do? But in my house, and I think generally, I think across households as well, decisions may not be taken by women, but a lot of the accounting is actually done by women.
that is so true.
Actually, like my dad has no idea how to log into his bank accounts. My mom will actually do all of it. But decisions are still taken by, अच्छा, okay, I will decide what.
Executive assistant.
हाँ, मतलब वो उससे
Operations
but
head.
वो गाली दे रहा है ना to the head. इसको पता नहीं है क्या करना है.
Also, if we think about who's doing it better, I'm seeing the women, like I look at my mom, I think she manages money much better than my dad. Like, you know, she will manage to save, put away, while making sure that everything is taken care of.
Again, that's statistically, globally proven. A, women make better investors. B, women save much more than men do. We just don't know how to create wealth. And the unfortunate part is today there are conversations that you come across where you're like, women startup founders are not getting funded, da da da. If we create wealth, if we can create wealth, we can create wealth for so many more women, right? So I think, in my view, anything to do with empowerment, independence, it's all incomplete if economically you're not empowered, and that's the story of the world. You can't deny it, right? Who has money has power in the world, that's true, and it's true in our houses, it's true in our lives, which is why I think if we ever have to fight or say that gender equity is important and I want to have a stand not just in the world, in your house.
Correct.
You've got to have a say in money conversations, otherwise boss hoga nahi, matlab, unfortunately.
That makes so much sense.
So that was basically the story, like why. And obviously there's a personal angle to it and many more angles, but I think largely that's the reason, I think, why.
I think women are also, like, even in our generation, even in our marriages, other people's marriages, just going by our age group and peers, women are earning, they're independent, but I'm hearing a lot of this narrative of this is your pocket money. You know, so you are still not contributing, you know. I remember, I have heard this.
She's right, you're right. She's right.
And I have had uncles come to me at, you know, dinner parties and अच्छा you're working
ये तो तुम्हारी pocket
आपकी
money
pocket
है.
money है. I was like हाँ मैं तो टॉफी खरीदने जा रही हूँ अब तो.
It is so
I mean, like
disrespectful and
it's
sorry.
yeah, and I was like it's not my pocket money, like, you know, me and my husband are
baby नहीं हो.
yeah.
You say कि you are working overtime. I'm spending 80% of my time also raising a kid.
Exactly.
And then
I have
also
two jobs.
earning.
I always say it. I have two jobs. I'm working like day shift, morning shift, night shift, midnight shift. Goes on till 3 in the morning.
While my husband is taking care of his job.
Time sheet भर के दो. इसके पैसे
Exactly. And I was like, what is the pocket money? What?
I don't know why.
And at the end of the month, I have no pocket money to take anywhere. You know, I can't. It's gone.
The pocket money has
But actually,
Wings.
Picking from what you're saying, and that is so true, Garima. I have actually been, I've been locked out of my company here because finance was not. I've been locked out of my bank account here because I didn't care. You know, that has happened. And then I didn't know how to survive in Bombay because where will the rent come from now? But why I said Garima is because you've been through a fundraising journey, and of course we already know that it's a scarcity of funds. Funds तो बहुत है. Scarcity of funds with female CEOs and female co-founders, etc. Right? Tell me, how has your experience been with Sploot with fundraising actually?
Honestly, I actually come from a marketing creative वाला background, so मेरे को कोई आइडिया नहीं था फंडरेजिंग क्या होती है, कैसे होती है, क्यों होती है, क्या करना होता है, जो भी है. Interestingly enough, my co-founder is a man who came from investing background, so I kind of lucked out there because he kind of brought that in. But I think it is, I mean, it's fairly scary, honestly. Like from the sense of not coming from that background, I think there is so much baggage because we all carry this knowledge of people will assume I do not understand numbers and I don't understand maths and finance and all of those things. I think a lot of times it takes a few of these like conversations to even get that impression out of your own head. Like it's like a conversation you're having with yourself in terms of, they're probably thinking this. I'm probably coming across as somebody who's like not strong on the numbers. No, cutting yourself down. You know, like a lot of times I had to catch myself later and be like, why did I even say this? Like, it's not something which is like required. I remember, in fact, one of the early conversations, without really like realizing it, we had one of these conversations where somebody was asking, ke, Acha, what do you look at? What does Arnav look at? And kuch to aise, so I look at product and marketing, he looks at finance and ops. And he said this, and then he said something like, yeah, basically she's the cost center and I'm the money center. And I'm like, buddy,
Never
do
again.
not realize how gendered that statement is. And he was like, oh shit. Like it's a lot of just like not knowing how to navigate these relationships in a way where, you know, like it shouldn't come across as, और it isn't actually that anyway. Like मैंने MBA करी है, उसने नहीं करी है, तो मैं बना रही होती हूँ sheets और उसको सिखा रही होती हूँ कि कैसे करना है. But
I love that you said that.
I mean, come on.
And actually इतने subtle होते हैं ना ये
Realize नहीं
nuances,
होता.
But that's
and I don't think वो किसी भी gender को realize होता है by the way. It's not कि मुझे as a girl
He's going to kill me that I've said this on this. But anyway.
Must not edit this out.
हो जाता है कभी-कभी like.
No, that is such a good point because what you keep feeling, for example, you're a mother of
One only.
mother of one, but how old is he?
He's 2.5. He's
2.5?
Yeah.
And you know, we Aditi and I play football together, and so I really wanted her to be a part of this conversation for a simple reason: the number of times I hear her saying the word guilt. She's the most hardworking mother I have come across of our age, you know, for that matter. She's into football. She's at top of things in terms of work. She takes care of the kid brilliantly. She also, you know, keeps in touch with her mom. Like, you know, she has everything going for her.
I'm dependent on my mom completely. She's the nanny.
But nanny and nanny.
But the number of times I hear her say the word mom guilt, yeah, I can't do this, I'm feeling very guilty, is something that I'm actually curious about.
And it's not anyone making me feel guilty, it's self-imposed guilt. So imagine the generational somewhere trauma that, you know, you go through, or, you know, because you're just feeling, and I see other, my peers, they're raising children, my classmates, they have children, they're doing it a different way. I don't know if so many of them are feeling as much guilt as I'm feeling. And it's not like my husband makes me feel guilty. It's not like my mom or dad or anyone makes me feel guilty. It's self-imposed guilt. Like, I say guilt a lot, but there's no one making me feel guilty.
Standards are only so high na. I think we keep feeling I'm not meeting my standard
Is it
only.
what you're saying, right? You're just self-doubting. Half the time you're self-doubting.
No, it's
Am
all
I doing enough?
It's what you grow up with, no? Like I've seen my mom thinking that I don't know if I can do this, or like being very hesitant in terms of can I now, after having 3 kids and 10 years of just doing childcare, now go back into the job sector and get a job or whatever?
Right.
I think it's also that I mean, I don't know, personally for me, like I feel like I carry a lot of baggage that the women around me had. So it becomes like I'm actually reliving their lives.
That's what it's like.
And then I'm thinking, ये मेरे साथ हुआ नहीं है कभी लेकिन तो क्यों है ये मेरे दिमाग में?
हाँ, correct. क्योंकि even this mom thing, it's so real. When I had the same feelings, and you know what is actually, when I analyze and look back, I feel like the way we were raised, I think without even realizing, there's an image of a way the mother should be. And it's not like my mom has said that or anybody has said that. It's just the way, like, she was there, she was available. And the fact that I'm not available, for example, used to initially make me feel like I need to compensate in some way. Like you go to
Especially when your child was younger.
Yeah. You went through a lot of stuff, and then you later realize that, oh, you know, subtly, I think that message was what was probably bothering me. It's very complicated.
You forget that evolution has happened in some sense over the years. Like more and more females are working and they are managing.
But you know, it goes back to what you were saying when we were just discussing क्या बात करनी है, which is that
That's behind the scenes conversation. Yes, sure.
but it's basically that thing of अगर हमारे role models थे like this, you are going to know that this is the normal.
That's what I'm so curious about our children's generation growing up now, because I think everyone I know working mothers, you know, balancing working mothers along with balancing working fathers. I'm seeing it equal right now. Like between me and my husband, I see it equal in the house. I mean, there's some things he does better, there's some things I do better, but I'm so curious to see this upcoming generation, how they're going to grow up. What are their pictures?
I tell you 7 years later what's going to happen. Your kid is not going to realize that there's any difference between your work and your husband's work. Because, I mean, I used to have all these baggages, and now when I go out for work, she's not like, oh mama, why aren't you making breakfast for me? Oh mama, why aren't you? She's like, dude, that's your job. That's what my mom does. She works. So, and if she runs her own business, does not mean that you can just walk into my room and I'm in a meeting. No, I'm not. Babe, I'm not like, I'm at work. Okay, this is my workplace. You've got to respect that. So it's beautiful how kids actually adapt so much faster than what we think.
That is an amazing thing you said, because that is one thing I'm so curious about. I'm thinking, is my son going to figure it out? You know, how is he going to grow up and think about me working along with his
Probably
dad?
there'll be a time where the kids are saying, "Arey, tumhari mummy kaam nahi karti." I mean, you want to cut this, but it's true.
Oh God, I keep forgetting what you're going to get trolled on and what you won't. As a female podcaster, तो पहले ये कि impressions लाओ. फिर वो कि अच्छा comment, अगर impressions आ गए तो comment से
Because
कैसे
my
deal
social media presence, as we all know, is not.
We must shift the focus on you now. Tell us.
Yeah, let me get. As long as it's not work related, I'll say whatever you want. Put my foot in my mouth. Multiple times.
Actually, coming back to your point, and I'm curious always about कि तुम्हारी जो तुमने रोल मॉडल वाली बात बोली ना कि है ही नहीं या तो है जो मेल्स हैं शायद. टेल मी, डू यू, एक तो प्लीज कंप्लीट योर पॉइंट अबाउट दैट, बट सेकंड इज, डू यू हैव अ फीमेल रोल मॉडल ग्लोबली, Indian? How has it been? Yeah, this person I would love to grow up like.
You know, I've never, like, growing up had like a very ambitious type of view of the world. Honestly, like मेरा गोल था, अच्छा SRCC एडमिशन हो गई, अब मार्क्स आ गए, खत्म हो गया, अच्छी नौकरी लेंगे, चिल करेंगे.
I'm SRCC too. सब SRCC वाले बैठे हैं.
Senior madam.
I didn't study in India, sorry guys.
So I just went through
Posh and all. SAT वाले बच्चे भी बैठे हैं यहाँ.
हम मॉरिस नगर में बड़े हैं.
सारे K-Nags वाले बच्चे.
Oh my God.
I did 1 year. I did 1 year.
Maggie point.
Miranda House 1 year.
मिरांडा तो साइड में था.
हाँ, साथ में तो
मा-
बहुत अच्छा.
गलत हो रहा है, गलत. Please continue, but please let girls, this is not a literal locker room, okay?
Sorry. Please go back to SRCC. तो एडमिशन नहीं था लेकिन SRCC पहुंच गए. And then life was set कि बस अब हो गया सब.
नहीं हुआ ऐसा.
ऐसा नहीं हुआ.
So I honestly felt that I went through like these cycles of being like, okay, now I will find happiness. और फिर जब हुआ तो फिर पता लगा कि no, this is not it. फिर next, and then I finally realized that okay, maybe what I wasn't like adding to the mix was what I am actually truly passionate about. Even if it is the tougher decision in the long run. So, I mean, honestly, like for me, it started off like that. But I think the reason why it took me a while to kind of get there was because for me, like I come from a family which is very service background, right? So the men are all in like the government services, the women are more in like traditional teaching, us type of professions. So you see that growing up, and I realized that I grew up more like my dad than I did like my mom. Like, like that is what it is.
Like what?
Like if my dad was sitting here, हम same लगते हैं, genuinely.
तुमने इसलिए कटवा लिए बाल कि अच्छा मैं लगती हूँ तो मैं पूरा लगूं.
3 साल थेरेपी में मेरे को यही लग रहा है कि हुआ क्या है मेरे साथ. But honestly, if I were to bring it to the crux of it, it actually becomes that. Like if I am aligning myself to role models which don't necessarily fit the same mold of who I am, but professionally, yes, like I want to reach maybe that zenith or whatever it is. That is where I think that confusion kind of comes in. Okay, do I have to be like a man to be able to succeed in terms of aggression, in terms of thoughts, in terms of all of that? Or is there a balance that I can find? I did this like podcast with like alumni from my B school where I literally just like spoke to women who, and whatever their careers were, for like 6 months, ek ke baad ek. And one of them said something which I found really interesting. She said that I don't believe in role models, I believe in goal models. Which is that personal life mein mere ko ye karna hai, so let me find somebody who has kind of done that. Professionally, this is what I align myself with, but I like the belief that one person can kind of solve everything.
I agree with that.
River of life is the way to get to this. Okay, I'm not kidding. It's a framework. It's a framework because I figured it out recently. What she's saying, I think I shared that as well, and that's why I love the kind of feeling.
But you never shared the outcome,
I'll tell you the outcome. River of life is a framework कि यार to figure कि यार तुम्हारा long term purpose in life क्या है, right? क्यों कर रहे हो यार तुम? या तो कई लोग, हाँ मैं बताती हूँ. हाँ, इसका framework ये है. एक चार्ट पेपर लो, ठीक है, कुछ डिफरेंट कलर पेन्स ले लो एंड मेक जैसे भी तुम्हारा रिवर का शेप बनाना चाहते हो बना लो, ठीक है. उसके बाद तुम स्टार्ट करो फ्रॉम वेर एवर यू रिमेंबर फ्रॉम योर चाइल्डहुड. लाइक इट कुड बी अ वेरी सैड इवेंट, इट कुड बी अ हैप्पी इवेंट. So for example, for me, my life is divided between pre-99 and post-99 in some sense. And actually then there comes a time where I became ambitious. So there was a very long time where I was not ambitious, right? So I started my river of life from 99. इधर लिखा. But then you start writing यार milestones you remember कि अच्छा मैं ये जब city change हुई तो it had this kind of effect on me. When I went to this college, this is how it changed me. This करके तुम you come till
So you're kind of introspecting into yourself and where you've been and where that helps you kind of go.
And what you remember, and you can reach till wherever you are today, right? For me, what it showed is that, well, I have a great relationship with stories, content, females as well, like female leadership. And so I realized that in my long-term purpose somehow very organically I've been working with female leaders for a very long time, but randomly. Storytelling event कर दिया, which is a female only event. Women line up कर दिया of stand-up comics, which is female only. कोई नहीं, मतलब at that point नहीं कर रहे थे लोग. You know, all of that. So I realized कि यार I'll be really happy. I think the only reason I want to build a large company is because I want to set an example for the females who don't do it or think can't do it, because I've had so many downs that nobody can believe in the startup. मतलब 10 साल से I've been starting up again and again. This is my 5th time. Okay, so I'm like, I can very easily say the day I'm successful कि यार I've really failed 5 times, okay, and very badly, like completely bankrupt, right? So if I can do it, you can also do it. So that became my purpose. Here I can.
But that is really so true about you, because that point is a major point in Diksha's life, in her conversations, in how she handles conflicts, why she would even pick a conflict. It's usually surrounding this one point of just uplifting women. I've seen it in a broad sense, like not exactly, but in a very broad sense. That is Diksha wholly solely. Everything is that, and like now that you're saying it, it's just now. So what if your behavior is not understanding?
इतना क्यों aggressive हो जाती है?
I get that.
Something which is so deep
for.
It is deeply rooted because yeah, I think I've just seen examples. I can only talk about myself, but I think when you realize very deeply कि यार I'm being treated in a certain way because of my gender, or because you think I'm this gender and I'm weak, it changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It changes things, right? So coming back to your point, right? So I realized, and then I was like, oh, then it makes sense ki why I'm doing what I'm doing, yeah, why I get so happy if and why it has taken so many years to make really good female friends. It took many years because like I think at every point I would realize, yeah, this person is being really rude to me. I don't want to make such a friend in terms of females because I have a lot of respect, right? Stuff like that. So I think that's my long-term purpose. Tum apna batao.
I actually, what I figured out, and again, maybe some of it is also like self-discovery, right? I went through this period in my life, like my family went through this like tragedy, my younger brother passed away, went through like this phase of like the family not really connecting, and my dad decided that, okay, let's get a dog, because my sister had been crying about it for like years and years and years, kabhi hua nahi. And I suddenly realized that, okay, that became the one thing that brought family together again. And you know, we kept thinking about, like I kept thinking about it over the years in terms of ऐसा क्या change हुआ जो भी है. And it honestly just comes down to having that feeling of an empathetic connection with other people around you, because you're being vulnerable, right? The fact that suddenly somebody who's like in this very strict kind of environment at work is coming home and then just like chewing the dog. It reveals something about you, right? That you don't normally do in other circumstances, right? Like, so I feel that a lot of it is probably personal in terms of learning that, okay, yes, sure, the world expects you to be a little aggressive and be a little like whatever. But there's a lot that you bring to the table as women, being empathetic, understanding and being in touch with your emotions. Yeah. And honestly, I feel like this whole dog parenting piece comes from there. There is a reason why people are so like gung-ho about pets, right? It links with mental health, it links with this new generation of people teaching us so much, like Gen Z teaching us so much every day about it's okay to be open about the fact that I'm not okay, right? Or I am not going to do this, or I'm bored, or like whatever the fuck else, because हमने तो नहीं बोला पूरी जिंदगी.
हमें तो आई थिंक पता भी नहीं था. पता ही नहीं था कि ये सब हो रहा है मेरे साथ.
Yeah, like so I feel like my personal passion is seeing that spark of softness come out in people when, you know, like things like this kind of happen. I think dog parenting, Sploot is kind of a way for me to discover that. But yeah, I mean, like honestly, my day is made every day when I walk into the room where my dog usually sleeps in office, and some person on the team is cuddling with her, and I'm like, wow, my dog has a whole other relationship.
Has a whole following happening.
Yeah, कभी उसको खाना खिला रहे हैं, कभी कोई cuddle कर रहा है, कभी कुछ और कर रहा है. I'm like, this one little creature just like brings out so much on the team. So I don't know, like
That makes a lot of sense.
so I feel like my personal passion is very, you know, people centric. Like, can I have like people around me? Can I have like relationships which are nurturing, which kind of bring that out in me as well? Because I have a tendency to be very, okay, let's only focus on this and go and avoid all of that there. So yeah.
But I think that's such a good point, that let women be, I mean, if you're empathetic, if you're emotional, be in touch with, if that's a strong part of your personality, be in touch with that. Be true to what makes you stronger. You know, my background's also law. I'm a lawyer as well. I was practicing and litigating before I had a baby and then changed a little bit. But I got that so much that, oh, you're not a bitch, you know, how can you be a lawyer? You're not aggressive. How are you? I was like, I don't need to be that necessarily, you know. In fact, my strengths of being more affable, being more friendly has helped me make a couple more connections than being a bitch or whatever anyone wanted to call me, you know. So I think like sometimes if you're just true to whatever, if you are emotional, if you are empathetic, if you are a friendly person, go be that. I don't think you necessarily have to. And I'm not saying men only are aggressive or ambitious, but I'm saying you don't need to don any one suit to change how.
And you know, I found that, I don't know, at least with our example with the team and like what we're doing as well, I've seen that men in our workplace are also very, very different. then you would find, right? Like we have a tech team. Usually your impression of tech team is कि हाँ ठीक है अलग रहेंगे ये करेंगे वो करेंगे कोई नहीं interact करेगा. It's very different. Honestly, right? Usually that's your notion of अच्छा ऐसे होंगे ये अलग होंगे ये मतलब girls are going to be separate, guys are going to be separate. They won't have like common interests. But I've just seen that because I don't know, maybe it's a function of also like Arnav and I are both like kind of maybe balancing that act as well. Stuff happens differently. We're kind of doing things from that empathy first wala way also. Just like these are things I don't want because I have experienced it, that guiding it. But it feels like people also change because then the environment is so different. If the expectation is not that you have to be an asshole at work,
It's just you're giving them a space to be who they are and who we all wanted that when we started our jobs.
और
Right?
ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं मैसेज नहीं करूँगी साइड हो काम नहीं हुआ भाई हेलो क्या जो भी है वो भी होगा. But I don't have to be like disrespectful. I don't have to.
That's such a good point because I keep saying that and you would agree.
This man, like when I started my career back in 2005 in financial services, let me be honest, in the domain that I am in, like probably I'm guessing it's the same for law as well. Like there's no space for softies and cuties and I started I am feeling emotional about this, please. No, that was never encouraged. In fact, the other day I was having a conversation with a friend and we both are, you know, our kids are similar age, and she was like, you know, oh, I've gone to office 3 days, I'm going to work from home today. I said, dude, do you realize how cool life has become? Because when we started our careers and our babies were very tiny, we didn't have this privilege of saying, dude, I will work from home today because my baby's sick. We used to manage like daycare, kaun dekhega, because you've got to be at work. You are going to show up at work. You cannot show a streak of weakness by saying, I'm a mom, so can I just, and then they're like,
Because you miss out.
You miss out.
You miss out the
Correct.
promotion, the money and things
No,
like that.
honest to God, I've never said this. I never declared, and you know, there was one time that I used my chubbiness to my advantage, was that I never told anyone at office till almost 5.5 months that I'm pregnant, because I was due a promotion and I got my promotion. People leave their promotion. I said, I worked hard.
Yeah.
You know, I got to know in November, and everybody has appraisals in February or January, right? And I'm like, dude, no. I worked the whole year. I'm not going to let this slip away. I just went for it. And I got that promotion, and then I took my break. And my boss, he told me when I was going away, it was a male and really nice guy. And he said, listen, I said, I'm going to be back 6 months in. And I was in consulting. And he said, don't make big life decisions. Your life is going to change. You're going to be a mom. I said, I'm going to be back. And I was back 6 months in. And I have never once, I have a lot of mom guilt, but I've never regretted doing that, because it's so important, or it was at the time when we were younger, to show up. Because you want to show that I'm there. I'm going to do this for myself. And luckily now I feel so great that my daughter's not going to have to do this. Like she can just say, dude, I'm sorry, I've chosen, and which is fine. Which is fine. Which are companies like yours building culture. हाँ, culture अलग हो गया यार, काम तो करना है ना यार.
Not 15, excuse me, just saying.
So she wants to announce Sploot team. Listen.
किसी को लगे कि बहुत ही सही है और
क्या है वो गोल मॉडल्स हैं हमारे, गोल्स हैं.
Goal models only now, from now on.
But the whole point of progress and development and all of this is to have a choice, you know. Whether you want to work, you don't want to work, you want to work harder, less hard, you want to take it to the next step. Yeah, just do what makes you.
But that's the thing about what Garima said, and about कि यार अगर तुम डाल दो ना founder team में लड़की, is what I think personally, that there should be more and more female leaders and founders building teams and building companies, because it changes things यार. It changes things in a way that अच्छा वो geek नहीं है अब tech team, ठीक है, तुम रो सकते हो, तुम you know, you can have a conversation that is beyond you know, work as well. I mean, yeah, I feel like how you're feeling is directly proportional with your productivity, how effective you are at your work, everything.
How happy you are, honestly. Like my biggest lesson has been that as long as people are like happy doing what they're doing, सब काम करेंगे, चाहे वो घर से कर रहे हो या ऑफिस से कर रहे हो. As long as you're keeping them like engaged and they're happy.
They're doing what they love. Yeah, that is one rule I come from. You know, when I'm interviewing also, fortunately, क्या पता बोले नहीं, ये तो नहीं पूछा था. So back check. I do think I always ask यार बताओ you know what do you love doing or what do you have fun doing because I think यार that's how I function by the way as a founder also I wouldn't do it कि यार नहीं मजा आ रहा तो नहीं मजा आ रहा है यार क्या कर सकते हो कर ही नहीं पाओगे कुछ so I think that's why I like dream of कि यार तुम लोग more females, more leaders will actually change things, right?
Also, I feel that women are much better at multitasking, taking on more pressure.
Resource utilization.
Yes, I mean, I have seen, I know I'm a multitasker. I have seen in my organization women in very senior positions of leadership. They are taking on so much that I've worked in many organizations in the past, in law, in finance, and I've not seen the male leaders take on as much as the women do. And they are executing it brilliantly. They are executing it with a smile on their face. Yes, they will maybe put you down one day. I swear they come back and say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. There was a lot at stake at that moment. So there's a respect that a woman also gives to a company, gives to a place of work. There's a certain level of being able to handle stress. I've not seen a woman crumble at a workplace.
Yeah.
I don't know what that.
But I also feel that you should be allowed to.
Yeah,
You
but
know what I mean?
that's true. Yeah, you should
Like,
be allowed.
ये बहुत pressure लग रहा है मेरे को.
मैंने correct ही कर दिया उसको कि
नहीं, I'm saying that it's I agree.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree 100%. But I'm saying that it's also like a little sad that expectation
मैं नहीं कर सकती like sometimes we females think यार मैं नहीं कर सकती यार मेरे को निकाल देंगे कंपनी से
Yeah. But I think the men also have that pressure. That's why they end up being the way men are.
मरी ट्रोल्स आदिति के लिए
अलग aspects है ना. I think younger. Okay, I am guilty of.
What?
Of
What's coming?
Yeah, you have to realize मैं थोड़ी सी एक generation पीछे चल रही हूँ. I think. नहीं, but I'm guilty also of when I meet younger girls or when I've met younger girls in my team and they just like decide that it's too much. It's too much, and today I'm going to start, like doing this. I have been guilty of taking that girl aside, and young girl, and I told her like, please go to the washroom and do this. Do not cry in the bay. And my opinion is this about this that. As a young person, when you're entering the workforce, and because of the common goal that we want to see more women, you don't want prejudices. See, what I might feel is very different, but there's a prejudice which that girl might carry because others might carry that इसको तो बोल ही नहीं सकते ये तो फिर रो पड़ेगी बे में, right? You don't want that to happen. So I just told her that when you feel a lot of pressure, please excuse yourself from the conversation. You have a private space. Take your time. You want to talk to me? Take me out. This is what guys do, let's be honest. Are you telling me guys don't break down? They take a smoke break. What is that smoke break about? Half of them are like bloody bitching standing there. इसके बारे में, उसके बारे में. They're doing that, na? They're doing that. They're also venting, na?
That's a valid point.
So हमें क्यों सिर्फ अपने आप को वैसे दिखा के, while I'm all for celebrating softness, but if that's not the culture of your organization, then let's also be cognizant that if we've got to rise, we've got to, in Rome, do the Romans, right? So,
यही करते आ रहे हैं ना
बदलने में वक्त लग रहा है ना.
See, life में balance होनी चाहिए.
like a man will not
Change, but क्या है ना वो रास्ता है so uncomfortable कि जब तक आप ऊपर नहीं पहुंचोगे आप वो चेंज कर नहीं सकते. पहले पावर भी आनी पड़ेगी ना चेंज करने की. नीचे ही रास्ते में आपको शूट कर दिया तो आप क्या
And you're never going up. Yeah. You can't be belligerent also and just be like मैं अपनी तरीके से करूँगी and not reach anywhere.
I mean, you can maybe. It's getting a bit confusing now.
who is on side crumble in office
We all have crumbled. Yeah, क्या है
So
इसमें?
I think the place I was coming from was that if you are able to kind of be that person for somebody else on the team, like you did, right?
Yeah.
Like you did. You said that you went and gave advice in terms of कि अच्छा you need a system to handle it.
मेरे पास आ जा बे, तेरे को इधर ही है तो मेरे से बात कर ले. तो ऐसे मत कर. हाँ, but you've got to do these छोटा things. I think.
See, you have to be smart in a workplace because it's competitive at the end of the day. You are no one's there handing you out anything for free and doing you any favors. So you figure out what works for you, and then if you can make a change, good.
मुझे ना एक क्वेश्चन पूछना है ना that is most important for me. ठीक है पता नहीं most important क्या काफी important points यार मैं ऐसे ही बात करती हूँ. I start thinking, okay, I zone out and thinking. Okay, so me too. So I think that in females' lives, there are a lot of I'll use the term sorry because that's how मैंने जब से content किया यही मेरे दिमाग में आता है Me Too moments. Okay, now Me Too has nothing to do with sexual harassment or anything. I just mean Me Too moments in the sense that have you been called a term that you're not comfortable with? So I want to play that game a little with you guys. I'll just randomly come up with questions. But I want to know. No, I want to know the incidents also. But have you been called bitch, bitchari, any other word that you're not comfortable with? What is that and why?
So I would say luckily I'm not really calling ने कोई थप्पड़ मार के खींच के देती मैं बदतमीजी नहीं but no, in a different sense. I have at times, I mean when I've been new at an organization or something, when my work has been recognized, like when you're naya then I don't think everyone knows what you're capable of or your background because you're not walking around with your CV. But I see a lot of surprise when my work gets recognized ki, oh, you did this, like that, you did this. I mean, what are you trying to imply? I'm not capable of that amount of work. I'm not capable of this quality of work. So that kind of surprise and that kind of insinuation that you did this, that is my probably insult. So
that is good you mentioned it. Don't say it again, whoever. I was telling the camera. Garima?
ऐसे कोई मतलब term नहीं, but like I mean there have been times when I've been called aggressive, and there have been times when I've also been called casual. So I'm like, क्या है?
Casually aggressive.
Scene क्या है, bro?
You're casually aggressive.
I don't know, aggressively casual.
Aggressively casual. ये भी हो
So I'm like मैं ये हूँ या मैं वो हूँ. Like how do I find the balance? Maybe I'll be aggressive and then I'll crack a
आज मैं
joke.
aggressive हूँ.
That's my style.
But why? In what sense?
तो मेरे काम नहीं हो रहा लेकिन चलो कोई नहीं. You crack a bad.
थोड़ा सा joke मार दो और फिर then bring it back.
सामने भी confused है अभी.
Weekend में काम क्यों नहीं किया? But I was just testing you.
तुमने ये meme देखा? So funny. Boss, are you angry or you not?
But हाँ मतलब I think it's that thing only. वो expectation वाली चीज़ है कि अगर तुम एक जगह पे वो seriously करने लग जाओ, there's always going to be a comparison, right? Like if I have peers who are male and they do something which is like assertive, but for me if I do the same thing and I speak to somebody in that same way, then it'll become अरे इसको पता नहीं है कैसे करना है, ये नहीं पता, वो नहीं पता. Like cool. Then I figured out that अच्छा, I used to actually work in beer, so again male, but वहाँ पे it is very like you have to be like nice and friendly and all of that if you're a woman. Man, you can go and be like अरे
What used to be the male versus female ratio in terms of leadership?
6% women in the whole organization. So yeah, really bad.
इसलिए छोड़ा ना तूने? बोल दे कि वो works for now. 6%.
She's the most popular person at a party. Free beer लेके जाओ. सही है सब. Till I become aggressive. But हाँ, like I figured out actually in the workspace that it was like if you just go at it as a woman and being very to the point in terms of ये चाहिए deadline नहीं हुआ, ये नहीं हुआ, वो नहीं हुआ, नहीं होगा काम. I figured out मेरा way है कि अच्छा हा ही अरे sir कर दो ना. But it's what works. And then I was like, okay, cool. Now I have to be
important
this.
in being a leader, how to get work out of the people. You may hire really great, competent
What
leaders.
if you're just naturally someone who is like that, That we're naturally someone who's like, नहीं, ऐसे करो. I've had the same experience. When I was doing ऐसे करो, बड़ी bitch है यार, इसको तो मतलब इतनी aggressive है, ये वो, and then you start doing और क्या चल रहा है, अरे sir, हाँ. And suddenly sir is also very happy. Then also there's a boundary problem.
I was just getting to it.
तुम्हारा boundaries अच्छा ये तो हम like dude करना क्या है boss? क्या चाहते क्या हो मुझसे? काम चाहिए मुझे, काम दे दो मेरे को, बस मेरी भी deadline है. नहीं हम confuse ही करते रहेंगे. I've had ridiculous things like तैयार हो जाओ, seniors के साथ meeting है, lipstick लगा लो, and I was like, and this is when I was very senior, not a junior. I'm like, and a very very senior person said this. He opens and there are 3 girls we are discussing, and he's like, अरे वो फलाना CEO इसके साथ meeting है, तैयार हो जाओ, lipstick लगा लो. I mean I was like, आप भी तैयार हो जाओ. Like that was such a lame comeback. मतलब बाल है नहीं, क्या करोगे आप कुछ कर लो, लिपस्टिक लगा लो, कौन बोलता है यार इतने सीनियर.
My beard is missing here, dude.
Then I've had comments like बड़ी झांसी की रानी बनी थी ना तुम, अब करा लो काम. I said झांसी की रानी की खूब लड़ी मर्दानी थी वो तो झांसी. ऐसा होता अच्छा था हमने बच्चों. It's all. So now the latest strategy is just stay calm, baby. Calm down. Just smile. Politely.
ये जो अदिति
Smile
करती
and
है,
wave,
Deepika
yes.
Padukone
Just-
from Om
Like, you know,
Shanti Om.
sometimes people, these guys also are like, why don't you get angry? Why don't you do that? I'm like, doing what will happen if I get angry with idiots? Like, there are idiots out there in the world. Like, how can I possibly get angry at them?
ये बहुत ही लेट लेसन है मेरी लाइफ
Yeah.
में. मैंने आई फील लाइक मेरी पूरी जिंदगी मैंने बस करी है outrage. No, how can you do this?
That's me in the
And
car.
very recently I realized that क्या पॉइंट है इसका?
मेरा point फायदा ही क्या है? नहीं सुनेंगे यार.
मेरा दिमाग
आज मैं सारे ओपिनियन दे के आऊंगी सबको सड़क पे मेरा क्या ओपिनियन है. Then you come to your 30s and you're like, हो ही नहीं रहा, काम नहीं हो रहा इससे.
I
Change
don't
gears.
exhaust you. It does nothing great. It will be idiots. But my next Me Too question है, तुम लोग Me Too game ही
Sorry
नहीं
यार.
करने वाले हो. ठीक है ना? Me Too मेरा second question है. Is related to what you said and now I'm forgetting. About labeling. हाँ. So once you are casual, right?
फिर क्या होता है तुम्हारे साथ?
Exactly. So how many of you have, because you're so nice and free and open and friendly, it's been taken the wrong way, and how did you deal with it, yaar? I'm still trying to learn.
Like in what sense? Like people taking
You
advantage
hit
of
on, like, by
being
anyone.
hit on.
Not in a
Work,
professional
I've once
setup.
hit on me at work for some reason.
She's sounding almost sad about it.
I mean, in the other way, like I've been taken advantage of because I'm so nice. कभी ना I say yes too much, so they're like, इससे और काम करवाओ, ये ना बोलेगी नहीं. So that is one, but like that male female, I've not had that.
Yeah, no.
नहीं यार मैं भी उस पे बहुत ज़्यादा वन आर्म डिस्टेंस पे.
I think वो casual से aggressive में switch ना
उससे बहुत डरते हैं लोग एक्चुअली कि अरे यार ज़्यादा मत बोलो फिर वो अग्रेसिव हो जाएगी, फिर मार डालेगी तुम्हें. क्या समझते हो तुम अब क्या? No, it's not happened. You gotta use the charm and then put this very लक्ष्मण रेखा लगा दीजिए आप उस स्माइल को बस.
But I'm thinking I'm not a very aggressive person, especially at the workplace, because I feel like that's one place. If I can keep my cool, that's half my day done over there. So I'm wondering how have I not been approached?
इसका अलग प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है यार.
आई थिंक तुम जाते ही पहले बोलते होगे कि मेरे बच्चा इज माय फेवरेट थिंग, मेरा बच्चा.
इतना बड़ा रिंग my शादी का है ना. सिंदूर also I'll start now. But you have something to say. I feel like you have
No,
something.
I have nothing to say. Absolutely
lots of
none.
stories
Zero.
that she wants us
I have too many stories. वो मेरा पूरा podcast ही ऐसे निकल जाएगा अगर मैं इसी में बोल दूँ सारा. I need information for other
how
episodes.
did you deal with it? Give us one example. Because
Oh, very
the
good
audience
question.
needs to know. पैनल के साथ नहीं हुआ है तो हम क्या, हमारे पास तो है ना.
Very good question. No, I'm just trying to understand. I'm trying to remember which instant, but yeah, I think I try to pass on the information in the sense maybe like you start talking about your imaginary boyfriend, or maybe you're just about to get married or something. But that's weird. But I can share something, right? Which is I think there was at some point I was starting up again. From my history, you obviously know that already, and was figuring with the next colleague कि यार क्या करना है ना, should we become co-founders, etc. And obviously he got rejected because this is what he asked me, यार तुम बॉम्बे छोड़ के निकल तो नहीं जाओगी. मैंने बोला क्यों, शादी वादी करके कहीं. मैंने बोला ये तो रिजेक्ट हो गया. Thank you for asking, but no, why will I change cities? I mean. Yeah. Okay, good question when it happens, but why is this anticipated that I will leave my city when I get married? Good, I think सबकी high लगी है कि 32 not married. Okay.
But 32 तो बहुत छोटी एज है यार, क्या very young. Why are you saying this on your own podcast that you do not want? Kya hai ye?
Because I have a
I want to
stand-up
know
comedy.
these
I
young
have a stand-up
young
comedy.
folks
Arre no,
around.
yaar,
What is this obsession? All 28, 29, 30 shadi. What is this, guys? Shadi का कोई
अरे
मतलब
यार
नहीं
किसी
है
के
यार.
goals हो सकते हैं. I could have a goal.
It's beautiful, but at your own pace, at your own time, with who you want.
See, what you are saying is right. I could want to get married. You could not want to get married.
Get
And that's
married.
fine.
We get married, but why is there this thing कि इस age के ऊपर इतना pressure है? कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता यार.
I was just stating
तेरा मन
facts.
था कि तू 25 पे हो
हाँ,
जाए.
I had a goal. Guys, I had a goal. I wanted to get married at 28.
इसलिए you hustled.
It was
you
a-
have not met your goal.
Yeah.
That's what you're smashing every other goal, yeah, Diksha.
You have to know what is the choice.
छूट गया था.
Yeah.
Yeah.
River of life में आया नहीं था. Yeah, now we are, guys, we are blabbering now. Let's come back to the point, okay? Come back to the point. So, I used to write a lot about because I realized ऐसी research करती थी, पता नहीं क्यों करती थी, but like female leaders, why they go missing from the workforce, या क्यों नहीं है इतनी, या why are they not getting funds, or even like, and things like this come up, right? That most females who start up are okay to make big enough businesses. They never think यार मेरे को unicorn ही बनाना है, या मुझे बहुत ही बड़ी कंपनी बनानी है. That is my vision. They're like मुझे करना है, and it can be a small business. Most females think like that, and that also again comes from conditioning कि हमें बताया कि यार ये है, this is the limit to your dreams, right? So related to that, so been thinking about yaar what is the reason behind this, and one of the major reasons is that of course when females get like married or or they have children, they don't have the kind of setup wherever they are कि यार they can travel late at night, or they can I don't know, buy groceries, whatever they do.
Especially in this country, especially in this city, more than anything.
And so I thought कि यार how can that change, right? So कुछ idea था उस time, but I won't share it now. I want to know from you guys that what does like an ideal workplace look like for you, where female leaders will thrive. They are driven कि यार I want to build something large. What does that ideal workplace look like for you? Anyone who wants to start?
I don't know about the ideal what it looks like, but few things I think in my perspective. One, as soon as you start bringing fair representation into the workplace, a lot of things change automatically. Why? Because then you're catering to one large chunk of the employee force. So I think one, definitely there has to be a conscious effort to make sure that representation is becoming more fair. And from there, things like flexibility. So I can tell you, as a working mother, I don't agree with the point that it's only a mental barrier or it's a conditioning. It's reality for us that there is going to be a limit on my ambition, not because of a conditioning I carry, it's just the amount of work I need to do. If it's my kid's exam, nobody else steps up, it's me. So it's not just what I need to do. The workplace, everything you do at work has a lot to do with how your personal space also operates. So there's got to be more conversations about sensitizing men to also step back and say, okay, it's okay to take paternity leave. Nobody encourages that. I don't know why. I've had multiple debates with men telling me how they are useless when a kid is born as a father. It's you who has to breastfeed, so just carry on. And I'm like, dude, but you do realize that a mother has a natural bond and a father has to build a bond. So you've got to spend a lot more time in the early months. I mean, again, there's research to say all this, right? So I'm saying, one, as soon as you have larger representation, lots of machinery starts, economics also changes for businesses. They say, okay, now we need to make sure that we have adequate parking spaces. We need to make sure that the work culture is such that after 7:30, knowing my city's system, I cannot have people staying back. I was in a culture where meetings would start at 7 o'clock. So what has happened? You, without doing it purposely, you've just excluded me because I need to be home. Because who's going to feed my kid and who's going to spend some time with my kid before she wraps up? So, I feel representation, flexibility, encouraging, respecting flexibility, getting more cognizant about meeting hours, stuff. It's very simple stuff, I feel. I mean, it's stuff which organizations, they put their mind to it, they can do it today. It doesn't need to be a very futuristic view. It's also about women you need to stay in. I see a lot of women, I wouldn't say it's only organization's job or it's only the men. A lot of women drop out very early in their careers. A lot of women literally say, I've had lunch conversations where like 2 साल काम करूँगी, शादी करूँगी, उसके बाद मुझे ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. Because so if you're gonna do that, then how is it going to work? How is it going to work?
She's almost like a teacher. She's saying, बेटा कैसे
होगा कैसे यार?
Like she's like, dear females.
Yeah, literally. But मैं चाहती हूँ कि आप भी तो करो ना थोड़ी मेहनत.
Even society, isn't that scary that you make it so difficult for a working mother or maybe any woman, maybe she's not a mom, but maybe she's got constraints, but you're voluntarily making it so difficult for her to participate in the workforce. You have wives, you have moms, you have sisters who will be raising children or whatever. Don't you want them to have that kind of flexibility? Don't you want a family unit to thrive? It's not only about, and I won't just single out the woman saying it should only be easy for the woman and the man should also do, and this, it's not a fight. A family unit has to thrive together. A man has to thrive, a woman has to thrive, and the children have to thrive, most important in this unit. So society doesn't think of that. Society is either okay only on the woman's side or only on the man's side, or somewhere let's bridge the gap, but they're not thinking of the whole unit.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. In fact, just picking from your point, I think there are two things about females, right? I think हमारा starting line ही एक तो same नहीं है, तो हम कैसे बोल रहे कि equality नहीं feminism नहीं, but अरे दोनों same है एक तो सबसे पहली बात. But if we don't have the same starting line, if we don't have the same starting line, we will have to overcompensate. There's no other way to do it, right? And then the pauses, because of, for example, you had a child, and if you do need that time, then okay man, you breastfeed, and then other times your husband overcompensates, and that should be normalized, is what I think, and I don't know how it will work. But
and the flexibility part is a big plus, I feel. Now lots of women want to come back to work if you tell them यार ठीक है आप 4 घंटे करो, 5 घंटे करो, हफ्ते में 3 दिन करो. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो नहीं करना चाहती, बट वो कर ही नहीं सकती ना. वो कैसे करेगी यार?
Flexibility also. No, I'm just, that's my whole point. Give the man the flexibility as well. What is the man supposed to do? I mean, if he can't get out of work, because if his boss goes and says, but your wife is going to do it, then what is he going to? You cannot sit and argue with your boss. You can't argue the head of an organization. You as a man don't have the flexibility to participate more in the house if you're not calling the shots on your
policy, right?
Yeah.
So it happens at an organization.
That's the whole point. You make it workable for a unit, for a man and a woman. That's the whole point of equality. You give them, and it's a choice. If the man then wants to step up more, good. If that works for your relationship. If it doesn't, then woman, whatever works for you. But the point is to give that opportunity.
दोनों साइड प्रेशर है ना.
Exact. दोनों साइड प्रेशर.
प्रेशर है for the kids, then husband also has the pressure कि अगर ये नहीं काम करेगी तो मैं नौकरी तो पकड़ के रखूंगा ना. नौकरी it's ridiculous.
मैंने तो साथ में डाल दिया ना. हमारा पूरा घर बार ऑफिस जाता है.
ये सही किया तुमने.
She's married to a co-founder is married.
बदल दिया तुमने. ये लीड कर रहे हैं.
बदल दिया हमने.
ये है नेक्स्ट. ये है आइडियल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो आगे आप पूछ रहे थे.
Thriving.
बन गई है ऑलरेडी. सब इन्वॉल्व हैं. और सब अपनी पॉलिसी लिख रहे हैं. और यही लिख रहे हैं पॉलिसीज कंपनी की. क्या होगी अब पॉलिसी?
We are working as a family unit.
जब आना है आओ, कुत्ता लाना है लाओ.
ये लाओ कुत्ता लाओ. हमारा बिजनेस है ये. ले आओ. पति अच्छा लगता है, पति को ले आओ, उसके साथ काम कर लो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
उससे भी काम करवाएंगे.
उससे कराओ काम. उससे कुत्ते का काम भी कराओ, ऑफिस के काम.
Actually,
बेस्ट बना रही है.
Garima, how many people are working at Sploot now?
Now there are about 30 people.
तो 30 लोगों की लाइफ चेंज
हो चुकी है.
ठीक है ना? अभी हो रही है लाइफ चेंज.
और वो बदलेंगे अगले
100 की. तो ये है.
These are the organizations you should put up this poster child.
Please लगा दो, बहुत अच्छी PR मिलेगी.
These लोग हैं, dude. I'm just thinking about the impact. If there are like, imagine 100 companies in Delhi. One of them is a female CEO or a female co-founder. उनके 100 लोग.
But that's how the change is going to happen, right? Like if Diksha thinks she wants to inspire the next generation, and you are a poster child for this amalgamation of ideas and like, you know,
Frame करो भाई.
just do it.
Private and limited.
That's the only way to change it. Otherwise, like, I mean, we've come also from an older generation. Now the kids growing up these days and all, I think they are going into the workforce with a choice. I'm not seeing, I've got a couple of friends with younger siblings and all. I think they've consistently chosen no big names, no big salaries. They are going for smaller, whether they're starting up, they're taking a risk on a startup, something like that. They're going for something, or studying something which makes no sense to me. But they're making those choices. We would have never done it in our time. Also, what, BCom, law, eco, finance, still. But I think the younger generation is going out there and making a choice, being like, this is going to be the rest of my life. So I decided,
And in summary, this is all economics. क्योंकि हम afford कर सकते हैं तो हमारे बच्चे choices बना सकते हैं. जब हमारे पेरेंट्स जो अफोर्ड कर पाते थे हम उतनी चॉइसेस बना पाए कि भाई बेटा जैसा है पहली नौकरी पकड़ लेना, तुम्हें अपने पैरों पे खड़े होना है,
दुनिया बाद में बदल लेना.
हाँ, दुनिया बाद में बदल लेना. फिर हमने 10 साल वो करी, फिर अब जोड़ लिए पैसे, अब मैं दुनिया बदलूंगी. हमारे बच्चे देख रहे हैं तो दुनिया बदलने में लगे हैं, तो आई कैन चूज फ्रॉम डे वन, क्योंकि हमने उन्हें दे दिए वो सारे प्रिविलेजेस. इट इज ऑल ऑलवेज, बट बढ़िया है.
इंटरेस्टिंग. आइडियल वर्कप्लेस तो मुझे लगता है हम लोग ऐसे
आइडियल दुनिया हमने बता दिया आपको. वर्कप्लेस छोटी चीज है.
rule the world. That's the point. Women should rule the world.
It's done.
This should be the
Sign
message.
it and release it into the world.
Or just Garima accepting job applications. Tell everyone. Yeah.
we will release the blueprint shortly for the ideal dunya of females.
Constructed right here at Bitchaari.
Yes, blueprint हम release करेंगे, but तब तक के लिए अतुल्या, you know. तब तक के लिए अतुल्या, you know. हाँ, अतुल्या, I told you ना. Yeah, Neha is only taking my case. It almost feels like I'm here with my older sibling trying to only take my case on my own show.
No, I wouldn't
But
tell you.
my sibling's name is Neha, so I guess it makes sense. It all makes sense.
उस generation के सारे बच्चों का
No,
नाम
so
नहीं आता,
what we do on Bitchaari is that guys, we have actually reached the end of the segment, but if there's anything that you want to tell about, because I think we didn't cover your tell me, because you're actually already building it for Sploot. Tell me how you are building the company which is supremely welcoming for ambitious, audacious females who love to dream, who should continue dreaming, and who will change the world for generations of females.
How we're building it is honestly like I think what we say internally, externally, every page, all of that is that we're very community driven, right? Community means obviously the dog parents that we're kind of putting on the platform, bringing them together, but also the team. So I mean, we've never kind of thought कि team अलग है, community अलग है, only what you care about is that feeling of community in that, because the people who are running that community have to kind of have that same sense as well. So I think that's where it kind of comes from, and I think for me and Arnab both, that culture wala piece was supremely important, because it was, I'd rather retain the same 30 people and compound the knowledge that we kind of learn together, because it's not like I'm an expert, like this is the first time I have a team, I've never done this before. So I'd rather like compound on that knowledge over like a year, 2 years, 3 years, rather than have के मतलब जल्दी pressure, everybody's burnt out, कुछ नहीं हुआ, पैसे बर्बाद हो गए, दुनिया खत्म हो गई. So I mean honestly, like we look at it from that, उसको जो मर्जी बोल लो, sustainable बोल लो, जो भी है, but I mean it just comes from that place that if we're in it for the long run, then you have to build it in a way where you're looking at a long-term outcome as well.
So yeah. Thank you so much. I think from what I took away from you was that come up with a policy for men to also take care of children. There is paternity, but I don't think like
the first one to kind of come up.
no policy hai, but how much it's used or how much they take the leaves, I don't think that is mandatory.
Practically नहीं करते लोग.
नहीं करते. I mean, see, you have to also just be facilitative. As like, as compassionate as you will be to a woman, be to a man also, or a father also. Like,
That's what-
you know,
that's
And they have to want it.
वो भी leadership से आता है
around
रूल बना दो आपकी आपको आना ही नहीं
हाँ,
ऑफिस
वही तो.
unless you make
और घर पे webcam लगा के तुम करो
चीजें
अपनी।
कहने वाली होती है ना, it's PR worthy.
No, and
Yeah,
honestly,
it's also
like,
the
I've
same.
been around like people who are like senior leaders, men, like wife has had a baby, he's back in office after like 3 days.
Yeah.
I'm like, what will I do at home? I'm like, bro, 2 हफ्ते हैं वो तो ले लो. कुछ
हाँ
तो
करेक्ट
set the right
बिकॉज ये
tone.
कल्चर नीचे तक जाता है
Yeah.
and that's
That's what
that's
you
the
learn, and
problem.
I can't do this
I
because
can't
we
do
also didn't do
this.
It's also the toughest thing to do, you know, like
मजाक उड़ाया जा
I've done, I'm a lawyer, I'm working here, there, wherever. The toughest thing I'm doing is being a mom, and I don't think that ever gets easier. I mean, I don't know, 7 years later is it getting easier?
I thought it will, but nahi, I have to do HCA again.
Wait till differentiation starts
Oh my
and
god.
integration.
Integration, differentiation.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for. I think it is exactly the kind of conversation we need in our everyday lives, right? Like for me, it gives me a lot of perspective. I'm sure that I think sometimes we forget how conversations kind of change things in terms of our daily lives, and hopefully, like at some point, this becomes like conversations at parties. When you're hanging out, etc.
Our next hang, so we'll talk about this only.
Next hang week. So this is something we do on every episode, which is I need you to write an opinion from the society about females, about female leaders, about you, that you would love to throw in the dustbin.
Do we have to explain it also?
You have to show it on the camera.
I mean, can we say it or do you have to write more? My handwriting is.
No. You can show on the camera and explain.
Okay, ठीक है.
What do you think? Yeah.
Tulya can't wait for us to just be done with it. Like, no, बचा दिए. बहुत सही है, बंद कर दो.
Are we rolling? I got it. Guys, I think I'm going to join the social media bandwagon. That's fine.
This is the first post. ऐसे माथे पे लगा के.
हाँ, तेरे को that's the rule. तेरे को ऐसे चिपका देना है पहले.
अच्छा और फिर
Aditi, you want to go first? Yeah. Show us the thing and explain why.
So mine is you worked on this. The shock factor when a woman slays it at work. I think for me that's just.
Now you can do whatever you want.
Kahan? Think it.
Anywhere you want.
Oh, yes.
Very good. Whatever. Garima.
Mine is don't be so emotional.
Oh. Aw, no,
That's
I
all.
completely get that.
Just kill it.
Yes. Completely get it.
Mine is लड़कियों को ऐसा होना चाहिए, दिखना चाहिए, बोलना चाहिए, नहीं बोलना चाहिए, which I am so done with. I don't want anybody to box me just because I am a girl. So I am done with getting boxed. I am who I am. That's what I want to be.
कई लोग बहुत टाइम लगा रहे होते हैं सोचने में मैं कौन हूँ. इसको बोला मुझे पता है dude.
जो हूँ बस यही हूँ. Stop telling me.
अपना देख लो सब. But thank you so much for taking out the time. I really deeply will cherish the conversation. Learned so much from your journey. And we'll make so much good content out of it.